The trees are wonderful assets, both for the environment and the golf course. This beautiful American elm here behind our 8th tee is a fine specimen of a tree that requires quite a bit of maintenance and effort. It is susceptible to the Dutch elm disease, so we have to treat this tree with an injectable fungicide every 3 years. You can see the cabling to ensure the safety, to reduce the potential hazard of the limbs as people walk underneath this tree from the 7th green to the 8th tee. We also have lightning rods in this tree, so the lightning protection as well as all the ongoing maintenance of pruning, fertilizing, and watering. So trees are wonderful things to have on the golf course, but they need to be planted properly, proper selection, and proper location in order for them not to be too costly to any budget. We're going to go look at something that we're doing over by the 18th and 17th fairways to help reduce some of those impacts. We mentioned briefly some of the direct costs trees have to a golf course budget: the pruning, the fertilizing, cabling, and other maintenance and special needs some species may need. But the indirect costs, a little more challenging to put a pencil to it, but very real, and sometimes could be even more significant than the direct costs. You can see the shadows here on our 10th fairway. Typically our east-west running fairways on the south side are the most problematic. All of our golf holes rather, are tree line. So these shadows here create shade for the turf, creates different microclimates, keeps it perhaps even more wet in some of these areas. So keeping even playing surfaces in these types of conditions can be quite challenging. Also, the competition underground is just as important as the competition above ground. Here you can see, for example, we're offering supplemental irrigation in the deeper rough where our irrigation system doesn't reach. It's been a dry latter part of the summer, and you can see between the shade and the competition for the moisture and nutrients here, this inner rough is pretty sparse and stressed out. So again, another indirect cost to try to maintain healthy turf under these trees to keep playing conditions optimum. Here's an example of some of the indirect costs trees add to golf course maintenance. These are all tree roots that have encased the irrigation head, including wrapping itself around the solenoid. Now in time, as these roots gain girth, they'll pop that solenoid right off the head and then dysfunction occurs. This is a vibrating plow that we're using as a root pruner. He's going to walk this machine down the sides of all of our fairways, severing the tree roots down about 2 feet. You can see how close he is to this locust that tends to be a very moisture hungry tree. That would alleviate the underground competition, allowing us to grow finer turf in the fairways and then the immediate rough, preventing the extra cost of water and nutrients in that area. Here, just as an example, you can see the line here, the root pruning that took place, and the kind of roots that are protruding out towards the fairway. You can't blame the trees. They're going for the soil where it's moist and more nutritious, and that's going to clearly be the irrigated areas out in our fairways. But just as an example, you can see some of the roots here closer to the surface, but there's a lot more deeper down. So again, we'll take pictures of this next year, and you'll see this line and the significance of this efforts of root pruning.